to help yourself with those. Just if it is during the presentation, try to be quiet and not make like loud crunchy noises and things like that. But yeah, help yourself with snacks. So it will be my pleasure to introduce our speaker today. And so we're going to hear from Matt James. As you saw, the title for this is How to Fight Poverty in a Sustainable Way and to Empower Others to Become Self-Sustainable. And just to introduce Matt James a little bit, when it comes to solving poverty, Westerners have an absolutely terrible track record. We have spent billions upon billions on Africa alone and have very little to show for it. In fact, many argue that we have done much more damage than good. What do we need to do to start? Seeing better results from our genuine desire to end world poverty. Through his experiences traveling the world and working in impoverished nations, he believes the answer is to stop giving our money and to start exercising true compassion in our hearts. So I'll turn the time over to Matt.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay? I guess talk about this. Yeah, cool. Okay, so my name is Matt James. I'm from Linden, Utah, so really close by. And I guess I'll start off by kind of telling you guys what I hope you get out of this, and also how I kind of got involved in this line of work, I guess. First of all, yeah, thanks for coming out. It's like kind of early, and it's Saturday morning, and there's lots of fun things you can be doing, like sleeping. So I appreciate you being here. I hope you guys enjoy this. So first of all, I'm kind of giving this talk mostly to help you guys get excited about doing development work and humanitarian work. Like, I hope that you guys feel like it's a possibility for you and that you can actually go and do it. You know, people, I've been really blessed. I've been able to do these things, but I know that it's very possible. People go on vacations all the time around the world. People buy fancy cars. People do a lot of things with their money, and I hope that I can plant in your minds that this is something that you can and ought to do with your life, even if it's just for a small portion of your life. It's very rewarding. And then when you do it, I hope that you can do it right, and that you can impact people in a sustainable way that's going to really change their lives for a long time and not hurt them in the long run, which I'll explain later. And also, I'm going to try to portray some of the life lessons that I've learned from my experiences working abroad. So first of all, how I got involved in humanitarian work, I guess it starts when I was in 8th grade. Me and my best friend and my dad and his dad went to Costa Rica. And we went there just for like a vacation type of thing. Like it was just to enjoy the sights and see the beaches and things like that. But I remember we stayed in this really nice hotel. Like it was beautiful, very nice. And the whole back garden, Costa Rica is famous for their gardens. And there's butterflies everywhere, and it rains, and it's green, and there's like little like bush mazes, like just unreal, so beautiful. I remember like running around the back and just feeling like I was in paradise. And then that was the first night we got there. The next morning, we got in the car and we drove out into the city. And I remember we like stopped because we wanted to get some breakfast. We started really early to find like some sort of pastry or something like that. And I remember kind of like getting out of the car and like all of a sudden like looking around and being like, where the heck am I? These people are living like, I don't even know. Like there was cement walls everywhere. They had tin roofs. The people weren't like clothed very well. You know, they were in like poor clothes, and everyone looked like homeless to me. You know, I was in 8th grade and I was just like shocked. I was like, what is this? Like people are poor? And I knew people were poor. I was in 8th grade. I was like not too naive to the world, but I'd never seen it. And I was thinking like, this is weird. Like I was just barely in a hotel that was so nice, and now I'm here, like literally 5 minutes away from that place, and it's just like poverty. And that's when it really like struck me that I exist in the world, and it really bothered me. Like I thought about it a lot, and it just sucked. Like it just made me mad, and I didn't like that at all. And that was kind of when I really thought about world poverty, and I thought about how people are not as fortunate as I am, and how that just really makes me mad and angry and sad. And I want to do something about it. I was really lucky when I was 17 years old. I got my Eagle Scout award, and my dad said that I could go anywhere in the world when I got Maple Syrup Award. Really, really cool present. And what I did is I remember thinking about, like, that was when Lord of the Rings was coming out, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to New Zealand and see where the hobbits are. And, like, I don't know, I was thinking about all these cool places. I'll go to Hawaii and I'll surf the waves, whatever. But I remember thinking about it, I was thinking about kind of Costa Rica, and I was like, you know what, that would be kind of like messed up with me, just to like go somewhere like that. So I remember getting on the computer, and I went to google.com, and I typed in, what is the poorest country in the whole world? And I found this like top 10 list, and I read a couple of them, and the unifying decision was that Ethiopia was the poorest country in the world, which it really is super poor. Like, you know that We Are the World song had like Michael Jackson and all those superstars in it? That actually was written about Ethiopia because they were in a famine, and they raised a bunch of money for Ethiopia. So it's a really harsh country, and I was like, well, I guess I'll go to Ethiopia. So luckily there was a local NGO called, it was called Engage Now at that point, that went to Ethiopia. And I was like, let's do this. So me and my dad and my cousin went to Ethiopia, and it was crazy, totally crazy. My camera actually got stolen when I was there, so these aren't pictures that I took. This kind of gets the point across of what we saw. In Ethiopia, we had like some medical stuff going on. I helped out with some like medical triage stuff, which was gnarly. Basically, like every day we drive about an hour out into the middle of nowhere, a desert area, and then these people were just so poor. Like even today, I've traveled to 20 countries outside the United States, many of them third world countries. I've never seen anything as more impoverished than what I saw in Ethiopia. At least that's how I remember it. I was kind of young, but still. We did some medical stuff with doctors. We helped like repair a school, taught a lot about AIDS, and it was just really, really sad. And that kind of really struck me, and I was like even more sold on humanitarian work. It was only a short time. It was only like a week or something like that, a week or two. So I did that, and then I got home when I was in high school, whatever, and then after I graduated high school, I got to go to Peru. And Peru was great. I went with another high school kind of group. And in Peru, we built a school, we planted some trees, did some educational type things. Really fun experience. That's me and my little family. I liked Peru a lot because it was the only place that I felt tall. Everything was so short there. It was awesome. That's them like greeting us. The Peruvians are so nice. Us building a school. We had a dentist, did a lot of dental work there. He would just walk around with his like little suitcase of dental supplies and he would just pull out teeth. It was crazy. Okay, so I went to Peru, but I was only there for like 2 weeks, Ethiopia and Peru, and it kind of just like left me with a bit of like, I liked it, but it wasn't very real to me. I felt like I was doing fall and tourism type of stuff, which is kind of like helping, but you're kind of just, it's almost like they make it so you're able to help, but you aren't really like doing anything on your own. You're kind of just going through the motions, which I like, and you can definitely do that. If you can't go for a long time, do that because it's still an amazing opportunity. But I wanted to do something bigger, and I wanted to get really deep into the work. So I went on a mission, got back home, and then I ended up going to India for like almost 4 months, and that was amazing. I did a lot of stuff in India. I mostly taught substance abuse classes because they have a really good problem with chewing tobacco there, and they have a lot of alcoholism. I taught in orphanages. I helped dig some wells and slums, and I attempted to start a school, which I'll tell you guys about later. These are some of the kids that I worked with. These are some of the orphans. These are the sweetest kids. That's me. I was trying to become an Indian man. So I grew a mustache and I tried to be like them. It's pretty fun. They don't smile in pictures, I don't know why. That's me teaching about, like tobacco abuse and alcoholism to the school. I taught like probably close to 2,000 kids. Okay, so then I did that, and then I was like, this is amazing. So then the company that I went with called Help International, they hired me to be the country director in Uganda, and I was there last summer. And that was the best thing ever. I was there for about 4 months, all summer long. I got to lead a team of like 15 volunteers, and we did some cool stuff. That's a baby that I delivered. No joke, we saw it come out, everything. It was pretty crazy. She named it after me. She named it James, very sweet. There's a cataract surgeries that we did. We were just got to be right there in the operating room, seeing these people get their eyes cut open. It was pretty crazy. Always about 40 cataract surgeries. This is just a funny picture. They have like very different hair than us, obviously. Like they have like curly hair. So like our long hair that was straight, they thought it was hilarious. So I had like a man bun at that point, so I took my man bun out and I would just shake it around and the kids would just go wild. They thought it was the funniest thing. And these are some of the kids that I would teach. Talk about like HIV prevention. I did a lot of immunizations. I helped construct a school for orphans. Did a lot of like business stuff, which is kind of what I found was really, really impactful. So I just kind of want you to get the background of what I've done, just so you kind of understand what I've done abroad, and kind of talk about what I've learned from all of this. And to put it briefly, what I've learned is that we suck at helping the third world. Sorry, but it's just really true. Like, we're terrible at it. Like, we don't know what we're doing. We go to these places with these big hearts trying to help these people that are suffering, and we just have no idea what we're doing. And I'll illustrate that by telling you a story of me in India. So I got to India. I was an ambitious 21-year-old. I'm only 23 now, so that wasn't very long ago. And I really just was like, I had a really strong work ethic. I wanted to change the world. I wanted to do the right thing. I wanted to help people in poverty, right? So I went to this community of straight up like Jungle Book people. The Jungle Book's actually based in India, I believe. So this is like real life Jungle Book. There's monkeys there. They hardly wear any clothes. They hunt monkeys and eat them for meat. There's tigers. There's bear attacks. Like I met 3 people that have been attacked by bears. It's like a very National Geographic, untouched, tribal, wild place. And they have a lot of problems there. It's very common for kids to get married when they're 13, and sometimes have multiple wives, and they die when they're like 50 or 45 even. So like these men look very, very old, and they'll find out their age, and they're like 36, because their nutrition is so poor that they just they don't have to take care of themselves. They have a bad problem with alcoholism. So I went to this community with this man named Vamsi that I became really good friends with. He's this guy right here. And I was like, let's change this community. Let's help these people. They're suffering. We need to help them. So we discussed it. We're like, what we'll do is we'll build a school, right? So we're like, these kids aren't going to school. They're going into the fields and they're working instead. They need to get an education because the adults are like kind of too far gone. They're stuck in their ways. We're not going to be able to change them. So let's work with the kids. Makes sense, right? Sounds like a good idea. I tried really hard to make that happen. I would go to this community all the time. I would sleep there. I would play with the kids all day. I would try to become friendly with the adults, even though I couldn't speak their language. We would eat with them. We would work with them. But like, there was just no enthusiasm. There was no, like, they didn't really care. They didn't seem to be that enthusiastic about what I was doing, and it really frustrated me because I was like, guys, like I'm all the way across the world from America, and I'm in your village of all places, and I'm trying to help you. Like, where's your desire? Like, why don't you guys care about this? Why don't you help me? Why don't you send your kids to the school that we're trying to build you? And long story short, it just didn't work out. Like, I did my best, and we pushed, but the community never really got behind us. And even after I left, I still kept on working with the guy a little bit, but it just kind of all fell through the cracks. And today, there's a school in the middle of nowhere in India that has paint all over it and pretty pictures, and there's no kids attending that school. And it was all a big failure, to be honest. And I hate to admit that, but it's just true. Here's some more pictures of these people that we're working with. This is me and some of the kids. That's the school that we built. So why didn't it work? And to put it completely really simply, I never even asked if they wanted a school. Like, just think about that. Like, how dumb can I be? I never even asked. I walked into the community and I was like, you guys have poor education, you guys have alcoholism, you guys can't speak English, you can't even speak the normal language in India, you guys never leave your village, you have no trade, you guys just eat the food that you guys have, and you don't trade, there's no income. And I was like, what you guys need is a school. I'm right, I'm from America, and you should listen to me because I'm white. And that's so bad. It's so bad. But like, you can see why I had that thought. Like, it wasn't really like, I don't blame myself for thinking that way, but it's a very natural thought process for us Westerners, because we go in there and we're like, we come from the land of America, it's beautiful, and I'm going to make you guys just like that. So that didn't work. So what I call this whole mindset is the Western brain. That's what I call it, because I think it's something that we can't really control. We've been raised in society, we have a president, we have democracy, we have the free market, we can become anything we want to be to an extent. We have a lot more access to education. And when we see people in different situations, we just assume they're like us, but they're really not. They're so different than us. And what we need to do is, well, like for example, one thing I remember seeing a lot in India, I would go to the slums a lot because that's where you work. And I remember walking around the slums, and I would always see these wells, right? Like everywhere there's wells. And they're just like dried up wells, they're broken, they're just like, the pipes are like smashed across, so like there's no more holes because you drop something in them. Like there's a broken pump, or there's a broken like one of these moving pumps. And you always ask, you know, like, who built this well? And they're like, oh, these white people or this church came and they built this well for us, but it broke. And then like, well, why don't you guys fix it? And they're like, oh, well, it's not our well, it's their well. They haven't come back and fixed it yet. It's like, what? They built that well for you, but and you'll see like Pastor George from Louisiana built this well. Or you'll see like something like Evangelical Church, like, or this NGO built this, and these little plaques and things like that. And it just doesn't work. And I think that kind of like really shows how our mindset is wrong, because we go to these countries with this kind of attitude that I learned these two words from a really smart man. We patronize them and we paternalize them. Paternalize isn't the word, it turns out, but it's the point for us. So patronize. I'm going to read you guys the definition of patronize. I think it's really interesting. So to patronize somebody is to treat with an apparent kindness that betrays a feeling of superiority. So treat with an apparent kindness that betrays a feeling of superiority. Think about that. That's what I had. That's what I have. That's what we all have. And it's something that we can't really get rid of when we go to these kind of countries. We go in there with this attitude where it's like, oh, I'm here to help you guys because you really, really need it. And I'm going to lower myself onto your plane, and I'm going to help you poor souls because you guys are doing it wrong. You know, you guys have it all messed up, and I've come from the land of America, and I've been so blessed to have this great life, and I'm here to share my knowledge with you. So you see how like it's you being kind. Like I'm not saying I wasn't nice. I'm not saying any of us are mean by doing this. You know, it comes from a genuine source of kindness and love, but it betrays that feeling of superiority because along with that mindset comes with this idea where it's like, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm sorry you don't. I love you, but you aren't very smart, and you don't really know what's best for you. So I'm here to help you. And that's patronizing. Like, it's very rude, and it's very mean, and it hinders progress. But that's how we go into these countries a lot of the time, and we don't know it. Like, I do it so bad. I'm aware of it now, which is nice, so I can kind of battle a little bit. But it's really hard to be in a meeting with some adults, and you're trying to explain to them how to differentiate a product, or how to save money, or how to do things that we think are really simple, and they just stare at you, you know? And it's not their fault they were raised like this. There are things that they can explain to me that I would have zero idea about because they live a very different life. The other thing that we do is we paternalize them. So it's kind of similar to patronizing, but it's the idea where it's like, this is my baby, like, these are my kids. I'm gonna go into this community and they're so helpless, and I'm their parent. Like, I'm better than them, I'm more superior than them, and I'm here to like fix this and nurture this community to like grow up to be like me. You know, 'cause that's what every parent wants, is their kid to grow up just like them. And we have that kind of attitude a lot of the time when we work in these communities because we want them to be like us. We want them to be successful, we want them to be happy, we want them to have an education. And that creates this kind of attitude towards the people that's very unhealthy, where it's like you can't really, like when you parentalize somebody, you can't really like see them on your level because they're a child, right? Like you're the educated one, you're the smart one here, but they're a child. And this causes for a lot of problems that are kind of like hard to really see when you think about it. Hopefully I get this point across to you guys where you can see the problems that it causes. Like one of the things that it's very apparent is when you go to Africa, everyone calls you, not everyone, it's not a bad abuse to I don't think, but people will call you boss there a lot. It's like, all right, boss. You walk down the street and it's like, hey, boss, hey, boss. And you're like, go to the store and they'll call you boss. And it's not like a cool, like, hey, boss, like they do in America. It's like, you're my boss. Like, what do you want me to do? So if they're our boss, or sorry, if I'm their boss, that makes them my employee. That's messed up. Like, that's how they view themselves to us because of this culture that we created. Because we go in there and we throw money around and we get in the nice cars, we drive around in the USA trucks that are like super nice, and they see us as the bosses and they're our employees. And their goal is to make our projects happen, which is completely backwards. The goal should be for us to make their projects happen. So it's completely backwards. They call us boss. I should be calling them boss. They're the ones in charge. They're the ones that understand what's going on. They're the ones that understand the culture. I'm supposed to be their humble servant. But the fact that there's that attitude there really, really hinders our ability to do meaningful and sustainable development work. And it's really, really damaged our relationship all over Africa and in India as well, but especially Africa. And I use this example to kind of explain it. There's it's like a Fitness for Life class. If anyone has taken that here, you'll know it's super easy. You show up to class, you take these lame quizzes, and you get an A. I am sad to admit that I failed Fitness for Life. How pathetic is that? I failed Fitness for Life. And the reason why is because my teacher didn't care. He just treated it like this lame class. He didn't expect anything of us. He just thought that we weren't important and that we just can go through the motions. And since he didn't treat me like I mattered, and he didn't empower me to become a really strong student that was able to rise to the occasion and push through challenges, I was screw you, teacher. I don't care about your class because you don't care about it. And since you make me feel like this is just a thing that you do to check a box on your list, I will not carry there. Failed it. Flip side, I took a 2010 English class. That was actually pretty hard for me. The teacher, she had really bad marks on my professor and stuff, and she was really hard. She pushed me, and I loved the class, and I got a really good grade in it. And she's one of my really good friends still, because she pushed me. She expected things out of me. And that's what we need to do to these people that we try to help. Because when we go in there and we just kind of expect them to underperform, we expect these communities and these individuals that we work with to just be not educated, not good at what they do, and you kind of have this attitude towards them where you're you're not so good at this, but I'm gonna help you out. It doesn't empower them. It doesn't help them rise to the occasion. It doesn't help them become themselves and challenge themselves. So one thing that I tried to do a lot when I was in Africa is that when people that I was working with, when they didn't fulfill their side of the deal, I held them accountable to it. And it hurts. It hurts your heartstrings because you'll try to help this community or whatever, and then they won't do what you're asking them to do. And it's really hard to come back and be like, hey, sorry, but since you didn't do what you were gonna do, I'm not gonna do what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna walk away from you. I'm not gonna help you anymore. And that's a hard thing to do, but that's showing them respect. Because if you always come in and just bail them out last second, they're never gonna feel like you expect anything of them. They're never gonna rise to the occasion. They're never gonna become the best of them because you always come in and patronize them and make them feel like they're the victim. Does that make sense? Kind of a weird concept to understand. So like I said, we need to empower people, and we need to become their employees. We need to become their humble servants that are willing to make their dreams come true. So I tried to do that when I was in Uganda. And I'm going to skip this story just for sake of time. But to put it really briefly, this is a woman named Carolyn that I love. And we built her a school. And after the fact, before we built her a school, we organized a savings group in the community to save money to help fund the school's needs, like paying teachers and also buying food. So that was a creative way that we got around it. That's a school in Uganda. If you're LDS, I also baptized her. She was cool. Very, very cool. This is a story I will tell. These are some widows, and they came to me. There's like a group of like 60 widows. They're hilarious, by the way. They're incredible women. They're like old, like really old. Like they're probably like all, I don't know, like at least over 50, but like probably around like 60 or 70, a lot of them. And they like are total party animals. Like they always are dancing. They can like move their hips like Nicki Minaj. Like it's just crazy. they're just the funnest people. They're always dancing, and they all call me Papa Jamesy, and they were just hilarious. I love them. But anyways, they wanted to build a piggery, and a piggery is just like somewhere where you have pigs, and they slaughter the pigs, and they have the babies, and they sell the babies. It's a business. And they wanted me to buy them 10 pigs, and they wanted me to build a piggery inside this building that they already had. So they came to me with pretty high expectations and pretty high like demands. And my first instinct is obviously like, okay, like, I'll make your dreams come true. Like, let's do this. I'm gonna give you all this money. Like, we're gonna invest. I mean, for everything, I probably could have spent like maybe $1,300, and I could have had like a very nice piggery built for them with 10 pigs. Maybe a little more than $1,500, but still. But what I did is, out of respect for them and out of love for them, I made them work for it. And it was a long process. It was like 3 months of me having to work with these widows in a very intimate way. And this is I'll kind of get to this point at the end, is that I had to get involved in their lives. Like I had to get into the dirt with them. I had to figure out the drama. I had to sit with them for hours, and I had to talk to them, and it was hard. It was exhausting, and it was annoying at times. They let me down a lot, but I really kind of persist through and build a good relationship. So we ended up like negotiating the deal, and we got like really down to like only 5 pigs. And then they had to supply a lot of the building supplies. I supplied some of the building supplies. They had to organize the labor. They had to pay the laborers. And basically through this whole process, I showed them that I respected them. And I respected their ideas, and I respected their opinions. And I thought that they were smart and that they were capable. And I remember one of the hardest things I did in Uganda was it was getting time for me to leave almost. Like I had like a month left or 3 weeks left, and they messed up. Like they ended up like pressuring this guy for money. It's a long story, but they didn't fulfill their end of the deal. And it was like crunch time. Like we had to finish this, and we had to get the pigs. And I remember having to go to this community of widows and sit down with them. And there was a bunch of them there. There was like probably 40 of these widows, and they're all waiting for me to help them, have money and help them change their culture and or their community. Do you have some sort of way to take care of these widows and these orphans? Very sad situation. And I sat down from them, and I was like, "Look, guys, you didn't do what you said you were going to do, so I'm walking away. Like I'm not going to do this. Like I'm not going to victimize you. I'm not going to think that you guys are capable of doing this yourselves, and I'm not going to always come in and rescue you. Like you guys messed up, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm not in charge of your lives. So I'm done working with you." And that was so sad. They were crying. Like I made these widows cry. How big of a jerk can you be? And I felt terrible, but I was like, this is the right thing to do. And I told them, like, if you guys fix this in 2 weeks, I'll come back in 2 weeks and we can talk about it, and maybe you can salvage this. So I did that. I came back 2 weeks later, and they were completely different people. Like they had really, really changed. And they had like found out that there was someone in the group stealing money. They found out that there was like rumors going around the community that this white guy was gonna like give them all this money, and they quenched it. Like it was like a purge of this group. And I need to give them that chance to rise to the occasion. So we got them the pigs, and they have piggery now, and it's functioning, and it's way better than it would be if I just showed up and was like, here's money, here's bricks, here's cement, here's a guy that's gonna design it, here's all these really nice pigs. See ya, I'm gonna go back to America now. And that really, that was the right way to do it. Sometimes you gotta push through the difficultness. This is them building it. So, all in all, real economic growth in the third world really comes down to what I would say entrepreneurship. What we need to do if we really want to help these communities is we need to find people that are already helping themselves. And what that means is, I have a hard time explaining this concept without sounding like a jerk, but what it means is that when you go to these places, like, we need to find people that are capable of rising to the occasion. And we need to not help the people that are, they don't have that vision, you know? If we keep on just going into random communities across Africa and Cambodia and India and the third world everywhere, and we just show up and we say, hey, we're an NGO, and in our year-end report we have goals for the next year. And one of those goals is that we want to have 30% increase of adult literacy in Cambodia. And you are the lucky community that we're going to make that happen. So are you guys ready to learn how to read, adults? And it's like, it sounds like a good thing. I'm not saying that's like a bad way to approach it, totally, but that's so backwards. We're gonna show up and we're gonna say, hey, we have a goal, and you're gonna help us achieve that goal. It's like, that's so backwards. We should show up to these communities and we should say, hey, what do you wanna do? What are your goals? Like, how do you see your community improving? And I'm gonna be your humble servant and make that happen for you. And those kind of people are the ones who are game changers. And we need to find those entrepreneurial, spirited people, whether that's starting a business or whether that's a woman that's a nurse that has a new idea about teaching nutrition before having a baby, or if there's a teacher who wants to incorporate trades into their school to try to help a kid be more ready to go into the workforce. Whatever that is, you need to find those individuals and you need to serve them viciously and help them become what they can become. Instead of us trying to transform this world into what we think it should be ought to be. It needs to be very personalized, personalized help, personalized development. This is another story that I don't have time to go into, but basically I tried to bring the washboard to Africa because they don't have it. It was a minor success, but that's just a funny story. I wish I could tell you that stuff. So this is kind of like the overarching meaning of this whole talk that I'm trying to give you guys. Is invest with your heart, not just your wallet. Giving money is easy. I mean, it's still hard. I'm not saying I don't have a lot of money to give, but like, that's the easy part. The hard part is like what I do with those widows, getting down into the drama, getting down into the dirt, and seeing how they see things and actually helping them. Sadly, it's not enough just to pop into someone's life and say like, fix your problems, I'm out. And that doesn't help in the development world, and it doesn't help in the real world. And I hope that this concept can, become a real idea or a real understanding for how you guys can live your lives just a normal day-to-day. And something that you can incorporate into your normal relationships, because this applies to just every kind of relationship, not just development work. So this is kind of the challenge I'd like to leave with you guys to an extent is find an outlet in which you can invest your heart, not just your resources, to alleviate someone's suffering. Kind of a broad and generalized challenge, but what I mean by that is a lot of us see the quick fixes, In development work, we see a community that has hard access to water. So we say, hey, we got a lot of money, and we're gonna get you guys a well. And you're gonna have water, problem solved. When the real problem is probably the fact that they don't have jobs. Maybe it's the fact that there's a really heavy alcoholism problem with the adult men. Or maybe it's a problem that the community isn't organized, and there's no way for the community to have any kind of fund to save for their own well. There's a whole host of problems. And the easiest one is never the real problem. You need to go to the root of it. You need to find the causation instead of just trying to fix the symptoms. And that works with our own lives. You know, we all have friends that have problems. You know, I'm sure every one of us has a friend that has depression. I'm sure we all have a friend that struggles with being sick all the time, or loneliness, or any kind of thing that everyone goes through. And you know, sometimes we want to feel good about ourselves, so we'll try to do one of those quick fixes. You know. But what I'm trying to encourage you guys to do with this challenge is to try to think about it in your mind, and it takes time. It's not an easy thing, but try to figure out what could be some of the root causes of someone's suffering. And try to go through the back door and try to find that root cause and try to alleviate that suffering in some way. Whether that's becoming a true friend or offering a real solution that can be sustainable and long-lasting. And that kind of mentality is the only thing that's going to change development work. That's the only that mentality is going to be able to change the way that it's going to get a bigger ROI on our investment, if you get to it that way. Because we're spending all this money on Africa, and it's all going to dictators or fancy things for the middle class or wealthy, or it is getting spent right into the victimization fund and making these Africans feel like they have to wait and wait and wait for a white person to come and fix things for them. So I hope that you guys can find someone that you care about, that you love, and have the courage and the stamina and the energy, because it takes all those things to get in deep and find the root problems and try to alleviate suffering in a very real and sustainable way. And that is my presentation. So we're doing question and answer now, is that right?
Yeah, so we're just going to do a quick question and answer. So any questions that you guys have before Matt can answer. I just wanted to quickly say also, when we finish up with that, if you can swing by this back table and drop off your completed feedback form, and then I'll give you one of these raffle tickets if you want to get one of these. And you can also grab a snack as you go. So does anybody have any questions now?
What was the name of your organization again?
So it's kind of confusing. I saw I'll explain real fast. So I was working with Help International. They're awesome. So I was a volunteer with them in India, and I worked for them in Uganda. Really cool company. They're in Provo. If anyone's interested in doing that, talk to me afterwards. The idea now that I'm trying to pursue is kind of doing my own thing. Kind of along with that idea of very personalized help. I feel like a lot of NGOs, they get too model-y. You know, they have their models to fight poverty. And I'm sorry, I'm being like really negative right now, but like they have these big ideas, and I feel like a lot of times they don't really, like I said, fight the root problem, because they have this bureaucracy they have to follow with. So my goal with this summer is that I'm planning on going back to Uganda, and what I want to try to do is do some, mostly focus on economic development through village savings and loans groups, which are brilliant. To put it really briefly, you organize a group of like 20 people, and then they all pay a little bit of money into a box of money basically every week, and then that box gets more and more money in it, and then after like 6 months you'll have like a good little, sum of money, because 20 people have been saving. Then from that sum of money you can do small loans to people in the community, and then you pay interest on those loans. So if you have a share in the box, you make money at the end of the year, because everyone buys out. And then it's basically a small bank, a micro bank. So I'm going to be doing those in Uganda, hopefully, and I also am going to be doing some like entrepreneurial training and helping small businesses get their footing. So that's kind of a long answer, but Help International was who I worked with, but now I'm not working with Help International.
So do you take groups on your own, or are you just independent?
Anyone's welcome, yeah. I mean, it's like not very organized. Like this summer, I'm just gonna be riding solo probably and like roughing it. But I also, if anyone was ever interested, you guys know anybody that's willing to go into the wild and just work, then I would love to have anyone that work with me.
How much would it cost to like go with you, and like how do you like raise the funds to go yourself?
So I was very blessed because I had a very kind dad. He's actually right over there. He's so nice, and he paid for me to go on these trips. But I mean, last time I got paid to go, luckily, because I have experience. But to go with Help International, I know it's probably like maybe between $3,000 and $4,000. The thing that I tell people, it's a lot of money. It is like a plane ticket costs like anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 probably to go to Africa or most places abroad. But what I always tell people is like, it's a lot of money, yeah, but for 1 month living here, track your expenses, and you'll realize how much it costs to live in America. You know, like you guys go out to eat, you guys buy food all the time, you guys pay rent, you guys buy clothes, like it adds up. So it's expensive and it feels expensive, but when you recognize that you won't be living in America during that time, it's not so bad. It's not as expensive as you think it is. You might even save money going to Africa, because once you're there, it's very cheap to live there. But the upfront cost kind of lost what intimidates people. But probably around like $3,000 to $4,000 what I would count on doing one of these programs. If you were to come with me, it would be just a plane ticket pretty much, and then living expenses once you're there, which are like pretty dang cheap. But yeah, and then also fundraising is a very real possibility. Like I've raised, I think I raised like, I want to say like $1,300 or $1,000, something like that. I sent out like 30 letters to people that knew me, told them what I was up to, and they just donated money. So like if you want to raise money, you can pay for your plane ticket pretty easily, I'd say. If you send out letters to people that you know from your ward or from your community, or like your dentist or your old friends, your parents' friends, and be like, hey, I want to do this, anything helps. You get $100 here and there, you get $50 here and there, and then that adds up. It's a very real possibility that it's a fundraise. People in Utah especially are totally down with that kind of stuff. Do you have one? That was actually my question. Oh, that's you? Okay.
I came to like, where else did you go?
So I've worked in Peru, Ethiopia, and then mostly India and Uganda. I've also traveled to I've been in really cool places. I've been throughout Southeast Asia, and I've been other places in Africa. So, but I didn't work there. In fact, I'm curious to do. I was kind of run through these pictures really fast, so you guys can kind of see more of my life. Any other type of questions that I can answer?
At the beginning of your presentation, you talked about a class you taught or something about educating, I believe in Kenya, a group of people out of college and something else. Are those people kind of more privileged, probably closer to middle class people, or where do they stand in social class?
Like the tobacco classes that I did?
Yeah.
So that was in India, and it was kind of an interesting situation because I was teaming up with another NGO. But yeah, I'd say mostly I was teaching, I was in schools, so they were in school obviously, so that's a good sign, so they get paid for school fees. So they were probably what we would call maybe lower middle class people. And they were just, big schools that would go around India, and I would just teach the whole assembly, they do assembly for the whole school. And I would just kind of help them, hopefully teach the little kids. I would show pictures of messed up mouth cancer pictures to try to scare them. And it really worked. It was weird, yeah. That was the fun way to do it. So, and I would tell these really big stories about people, that made up stories about different Indian kids that got in trouble for drinking. But anyways, it was really well received. But it was typically to people who were in school. So yeah. Did I answer the question? Yeah. Okay. That's on the border of Nepal. It was a really cool place. Yeah, that's awesome. Anyone else have any questions?
With the language barrier, do you usually have a translator or how do you do it?
So in India, it's hard because they say they speak English there, but they really don't. Like, you can find someone that speaks English pretty easily if you like go around. But like, I had a hard time with it. Like, that's actually why one of the reasons why I love Uganda, because they speak English a lot more in Uganda. But in India, yeah, we gotta have a translator all the time. Well, not all the time, but like, when I was in that village, it was like just we were both speaking gibberish to each other. We had no idea how to communicate like with the people there. So there's lots of awkward sitting, you know, and just enjoying the company. But I'd have to use a translator if I wanted to communicate with those kind of people. That was very difficult because translators present another host of issues because sometimes translators don't really want you to know the truth maybe of what they said, or they'll simplify it, and it's hard to be able to grasp the root problems. So I prefer working in places that speak English. Anyone else have a question?
Do you speak any other languages besides English?
I wish. I don't at all. And I know Spanish was kind of bit like, that's especially in high school. I would love to know another language. Any other questions? India. That's Cambodia, I do a lot. Really cool place. That's Sri Lanka. Oh, no, sorry, that's Thailand. That's Cambodia. That's like in Tomb Raider. You guys ever seen that movie? That's like that tree's in Tomb Raider. That's Sri Lanka. It's a wild fire dance thing that's happened to be there all day. That's Uganda playing drums. That's the orphan school that we helped a lot with the school for those kids. That's me and my dad in Egypt. It's pretty cool. Jam. Waterfall in Uganda. That's Ethiopia. That thing is just completely carved out of stone. Like they just built a building out of, I don't know how to explain it. It's crazy. That's the Kenyans. That's the Masai Mara. The Maasai tribe, the Masai Mara. I saw the gorillas. They were very close to me. One almost touched me actually. He was terrifying. They're huge, very human massive. Bungee jumping. This is an Indian wedding. Most crazy thing you'll ever be a part of. And that's it. Okay, thank you guys.